but they landed one of the top prospects out of the transfer portal, and that person was actually I just pulled it up. What
Bernard Gooden from
Bernard Gooden, yes, yeah, Bernard Gooden. I had him on Google Chrome, not because I'm using a different browser for StreamYard on here. But Bernard Gooden was one of the top prospects on the transfer portal, and and he was also considered to be the number one prospect out of all defensive linemen. Of course, he started for South Florida last year, and he had a solid career there. I'm going to pull up his stats in a second, but Zach, kind of give up your overall thoughts about LSU picking up what could be their only transfer portal target, but it's a really good one.
Yeah, it's something that they needed. I don't think you can ever have enough defensive tackles, especially in this transition year where you're switching from Bo Davis, maybe the best defensive line coach in football, to Kyle Williams, who it's his first year on the job. Not to say that he can't do it, but it's his first year coaching at the collegiate level. And I don't think it's irrational to say that Gooden is going to be your starter or a starter next to Jacoby and Guillory. And there's a chance that LSU this season can rotate 6 defensive tackles. So you have Gooden and Jacoby and Guillory. You've got the sophomores in Ahmed Bro and Don McKinley. You've also still got Shane Washington, the JUCO transfer.
It's Sean. Yeah,
it's Sean. Right. Okay, thank you. And you have Sydir Mitchell transferring from Texas. So that's 6 veteran bodies, and you've still got 3 incoming freshmen. So that's 9 bodies. Now, do I think all 9 play? Probably not. Or at least, when it's like that first weekend in November and you're at Alabama, do I expect true freshman Zion Williams to play and get a whole bunch of run at Alabama? No, probably not. But you have numbers at a spot where the best Alabama teams, the best Georgia teams that we've seen win championships, what's one of their calling cards? Depth along the defensive line, where they just send in waves at tackle and end and keep these guys fresh. And Gooden has been around this is his last year. He started off at Wake Forest, actually, then went to South Florida, and speaking of Alabama, he kind of had a coming out party against Alabama, not this past year, but the year that South Florida played at Tuscaloosa. Or actually, I guess it was this past year, excuse me. But he really flashed and finished the season with about 30 pressures per PFF. So this could be I want to say cherry on top, but maybe like a missing ingredients for this LSU defense. And I'm excited to see how it all meshes. I mean, Joe Burrow was a spring transfer, so sometimes it's the later ones that really change things.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, he started his career at Wake Forest. He saw action in 12 games, posted 7 tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss, and a half a sack. And then he transferred to South Florida, but he had to sit out because it's even though the transfer rules have changed, he had but he still had to sit out. I don't know the reason, but I do know he didn't play in 2023 because of that. But then last season, he was named an honorable mention All-American Athletic Conference by the coaches. So he was a very good player for South Florida. But I'm actually looking at his PFF grades right now. His defense graded was a 81.7, so that's that's pretty good. But if you look at his run defense, 87.2. And he had a 73.2 pass rush rating. Now that pass rush rating, yeah, it's a little. I guess you could say that's okay. It's good, but it's not like overall. Oh my god! But if you look at his run defense grades, 87.2. So I saw especially in SEC where teams like to run the ball. It's I think it's a great addition to LSU's defense. You could probably put more run packages, maybe short yard situations. He's a little undersized, but at 6'1", 270. But he's definitely somebody that I can see being in run defensive packages. And I mean, he's a really good depth piece. I don't know if he's going to start, but he's definitely going to play for LSU. You don't get a guy like this out of the transfer portal for him not to play, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it goes. I mean, he was the number one rated defensive tackle in the transfer portal.
Especially to your point about you don't get these guys. Well, these guys also on their last year of eligibility don't enter the portal just to be a rotational piece. So there's had to been some type of understanding of, hey, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to want to play pretty heavily. And I'm pretty sure that he and Kelly and Kyle Williams all kind of talked it out, because otherwise he wouldn't be here.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's another great addition for LSU. And their defensive line was already, in my opinion, might be the strongest position group they have in the field, and it's only gotten stronger, especially through the transfer portals. And even though they lose Bo Davis, Kyle Williams has done a great job with his defensive line, and of course Kevin Peoples, who is the edge rushers coach, he's done a great job as well. You've seen how much the edge rushers improved last year under Kevin Peoples. And now you have a guy like Kyle Williams who, even though his only coaching experience has been at the high school level, I mean, look at the guys he developed, including Ahmad Bro, who is currently the starting defensive tackle for LSU right now.